Welcome to the Photo Diaries podcast. I'm your host, Grace Costa, a photographer of over 2 decades and a business and marketing mentor for commercial photographers. If you're looking to build a booked out business and become an in-demand photographer who is respected and valued, you're in the right place. Thanks for joining me today. Let's open the latest diary. Hi guys, welcome back to the podcast. I'm Grace Costa. If you are new here, I'm thrilled that you have found the Photo Diaries podcast. I hope you take a good listen. There are some great episodes on offer, but thanks for being here today. Today, we're going to talk about the impact of photography and why you should know it. A lot of us forget the impact of photography, and we often just think about, oh, you're having a great time as a photographer, you're serving a few clients, and because you love doing it and it's fun, you're not really seeing it as valuable as it actually is. And you're forgetting about the impact that your photographs are having on your client, but not only on your client, in the world more broadly. So whether you are a domestic photographer photographing families, babies, maternity, weddings, or a commercial photographer doing headshots, branding, architecture, campaign photography, whatever it is, we all have this amazing impact on our client. And let's just angle this episode around commercial photography because that's the business I'm coming from. I'm passionate about this topic because we often underestimate the value photography brings to people. And it's because we underestimate that value that a lot of photographers are undercharging for the service. Let me give you an example. Last year, I booked some personal branding photos for myself with a new photographer. I'd never met her before. She was traveling from interstate and she was going to be in Canberra. Anyway, I purchased the package, which was about $1,600, and then I wanted a few extras. And the extras were priced at $10 each. $10 each. And I was like shocked and also really annoyed that she was charging people $10 an image. And that really, I really wanted to say something to her, but it's not my place to say. Everyone can do what they want. But it really devalued the images, and it also devalued the experience. Of course, some people might go, well, that's a bargain. Why should you complain? But I don't see it that way. Of course, it was a bargain, $10. Nobody's going to complain about that. But I think that just devalued things for me and made me go, oh, is it only worth $10? If she doesn't treat my images like they're worth something, like it sort of tarnished the experience for me. And we need to talk about this because the way we treat images and the way we talk about them, express it in our communication, on our website, in our package pricing, in our onboarding calls, or anything related to our client communication, the way we talk about images really needs to level up so that we start to spread the word and feel into the value of photography. There's value in the service for starters. People hire photographers because they can't do it themselves. They can't do it themselves well enough, otherwise they would. Look at me, for example. I know how to shoot family photos. I used to be a family portrait photographer, but I still hire photographers because they're going to be able to capture moments between me and my family that I can't capture on self-timer, that I can't create with my husband and my daughter. For a start, my husband gets annoyed if I take more than 3 photos, and he's like, come on, are you done yet? Come on, I've got to go do other things. Like, he really hates it. But that's why even general public need to pay for photography because they can't do it themselves. So there is value in having photography done. And we need to remember that side of things. And in business photography, professionals need to match their professionalism with the standard of their images, the standard of their design on their website, the standard of their copy on their website, the whole standard of their brand in general. And images are number one the most important part of their brand. Without images, they're just going to have graphics and words. And I know what it's like when you visit a website that simply has graphics and words. And there's no humanization on there. There's no soul because there's no pictures of people doing what they do or even a headshot of the staff or the team. And when you don't see life, real life people on a website, you can be a bit skeptical. And I always look for the security lock on the URL to see if it's a legitimate website. So in this day and age, people are becoming more skeptical of businesses who don't have real life people on their website or in their marketing material. So, it is obvious, but we do need to consider this more and use this in our everyday communication with our clients. We also need to know this for ourselves so that when we charge our clients, we are charging with confidence backed behind it. When I charge for a headshot or whatever, yes, what I charge may sound expensive to some, but I know the value of a single headshot for a staff member. Yes, they're going to put it on their staff on the company website. They're probably going to put it on LinkedIn as well. Then they're probably going to use it for their own Facebook photo, possibly, unless they're in uniform. And that image is going to last them 5 years, maybe 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. Some people don't change their image for 10 years. So look at the value, even if that image was used every day for 2 years on a website, that is so valuable to a company. And if we're charging $10 or $50 to take someone's headshot, that is absolutely making it feel like it means nothing. And a professional service with a professional product and a professional transformation deserves to be charged high, properly, and with great confidence. So let's break down how to communicate it to our people. How do we act in our value and act as if it's worth double what we charge? We need to reframe the way we're using our language. So we want to consider how we communicate it. So we can stop talking about photos and talk about the outcomes. So instead of saying you'll get 25 edited images, we can say you'll have a library of images that supports your website, your socials, and your marketing material for the next 6 to 12 months. That talks to the outcome of those images rather than the 25 edited photos. That, of course, they need to know that, but they don't need it to be communicated primarily. They need the transformation communicated more importantly, so that they see the value in the images and they see you're communicating that as the main priority, not how many they're going to get. Even like changing the word from shots, you'll get 25 shots, to 25 retouched images or retouched files. I think that's okay. Edited images or edited files is okay. But, stop using the word shots. I think that just downplays things. And, even if you said things like, I'll just take a few snaps. I remember when I was a photographer for the army, there was this one fella that worked in our building and he's like, oh, you're taking some happy snaps today, Grace? And I was like I always hated him saying happy snaps. And it just downplayed what I did. And of course, I don't need him to tell me my value. I knew it in myself, but it's just we don't use that language. We don't use happy snaps. We don't use shots. You want to sort of elevate the experience, and that starts with the communication and how you're talking about the images itself. So use the terms a library of images or an image library or an image bank. Retouched files, high resolution files, just start to consider the terms you're using. And when you believe your images matter, pricing becomes easier because you no longer are charging for your time, you're charging for influence, trust, and long-term value. You're charging for the transformation these photos are giving somebody, particularly in business. That single image or even the whole library of images, they're going to be seen on their website every day by people around the world. How can that not be worth so much money? A headshot is going to be used for 2 to 5 years. How can that not be worth something? That's representing somebody online. Without their face, people cannot connect with them, cannot communicate with them, cannot feel build a relationship with them because it's just a blank dot instead of a circle with a profile photo. Like it's bringing them so much value. And I think the more we communicate it to our clients, then they're talking about the value to others, and then the whole industry becomes elevated because the process, the transformation, and the impact photography has is communicated worldwide, and therefore people will be willing to pay for it. And, when you find people who don't value images, of course, there are a lot of clients who don't value images as much as others. Um, they will be price shopping. They will be even, writing to you and say, we just need you for half an hour. It'll just be a few shots. So, you could just quote for half an hour, that will be fine. If a client is downplaying the whole value of what you bring, that's a red flag. And it's up to us to communicate back to them. Well, just to let you know, it won't be just half an hour of my time. There is obviously, transportation, like traveling back and forth, blah, blah, blah. So you'd like explain the whole process, that it's not just half an hour of image taking and a few snaps. So, they need to realize that the value is higher than what they are, expressing. And when it comes to domestic photography, think about the long-term value of that, the legacy family photos or wedding photos or baby photos have on a whole generation and then the next generation. And then, I value images of my family who've passed on. That's part of my identity and my family tree and my family story. And now I'm passing those photos on to my daughter. So, family photography has always felt so valuable and has made such an impact globally. But I think a lot of photographers, especially those starting out, downplay it and they charge so little because they think they're just having fun. They're doing something fun. They finally get to be a photographer, but they're not realizing that families really treasure these memories, and it is important for a family to have professional photography done well so that it can be passed on. And then those images, you need to treat them well as also, and you need to treat the whole experience like a very precious like a very precious thing that they're doing. And I think the more that we do that, the more that we acknowledge that it is a precious time, whether it's family photos or a wedding or whatever, or newborn, it's this treasured moment in time, and having professional photos is a big moment for them. When I first had my little girl Sophie, I remember hiring a photographer. I hadn't known her either. Um, you'll see that I hire a lot of people I don't know, even though I know a bucket load of photographers all around the place. I tend to sometimes book people who are new to me. Anyway, regardless, I remember investing in the family photos and I knew how valuable they were to me. So I didn't really care how much she charged. I just cared about the experience, her style, and that she was going to make us feel comfortable because we had photos taken in our home. And especially somebody whose personality would suit my husband's personality because he was going to be reluctant to have photos anyway. Um, so yeah, it's just remembering that the impact of photography, communicate it well, elevate it by the words you use when you talk about images. Don't downplay what it takes to retouch an image or what it takes to archive an image or what it takes to print an image or frame it or use it in business or whatever we're talking about. Don't underplay it, and don't be afraid to charge more for it, because we've just discussed images pretty much rule the world. If we didn't have images, we wouldn't have a way to communicate certain things. So images rule the world, and photographers are the backbone of that. We're the creators of that. And when we start to act like our impact matters, our photography really matters, then that's when we start to sell better, sell with more confidence, and turn clients into buyers, because this is the new world. Digital world, photography is the biggest asset in the digital world right now. So we need to remember that and act in it, and help elevate this whole industry. I hope you're with me on that one. If you want to discuss things even further, head to my DMs at Grace Costa on Instagram. So I hope that was useful for you. And don't forget to sign up to my mailing list so you get invitations to workshops that are coming up this year. And also some insights I share with industry insights in my Photographers Only newsletter. So until next time, friends, I'll catch you on the next episode. That's it for today's episode. If you found it valuable, I invite you to leave a review so more people can find this podcast, or simply subscribe to be notified when each new episode drops. Until next time, see you later.